Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, the headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm host Wellington Burns, and I'm joined by a special guest for another life lesson segment, Kevin Knowles, and also an artist, Case Music. Thank you so much for being on, man.
Hey, appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you for real.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Glad,
And
happy for the opportunity.
yeah, for sure, man. And it's kind of crazy how we even connected because one of our friends, shout out to Markel, he connected us because I was literally I was at a parkway just walking, getting some exercise, and I bumped into him and we were talking about music. And he said, "Hey, like one of my friends, Kevin, he makes music and this and that. He's a Drake fan." I was like, "Okay, so he's a Drake fan, so he must know something." And so we connected over music, and it's definitely dope to have you on. But for this life lesson segment, because this is something I've been doing, adding interviewing different people outside of just regular sports combos. Um, I kind of like wanted to start off like when did you have aspirations of kind of becoming an artist and just getting into this lane that you're in now?
Oh man. All right. So we could actually take it, we could actually take it kind of far back to I'd say when I was a little kid, like 10 or less,
Mm,
um, or elementary school, even younger than that. My very first memory of making any kind of music or doing anything like that was, and I don't even know if she would remember this. I have a cousin, her name is Simone, and we wrote a song together. I doubt she remembers this. We wrote a song together when we probably were 8, 9, 10,
yeah,
maybe. We wrote a song and it was like a little love kind of song.
yeah.
And that was my first memory of of actually being interested in music or making music. And it was a song that was about, having a crush on somebody but being too young, and
Yeah.
it was talking about being in school
Yeah.
and doing homework and going to the movies and holding
Hmm.
hands, but oh, we be too young to hold hands. It was stuff like that. And then from there it just kind of grew. I remember I had a little notebook where I would remix like Disney songs, like Disney original channel movies and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They would have, they would always have the songs. So as a kid, I would like remix songs. I would like change the lyrics and
Oh, that's
change to
what's
my,
up.
I would like change it to my own lyrics.
Yeah.
So that's when I was still kind of young. And then there was probably a break in between there where it was just kind of nothing going on until I want to say around 10th grade or so,
Mhm.
around 10th grade or so, 11th grade. Um, when you're starting to figure out life.
Oh yeah, you get
You
more into a
start,
zone. Yeah, you get to more of
yeah,
a zone.
yeah. You start coming into your own and stuff like that. And I remember, man, and I coincidentally, that's around the time when Drake was coming out too.
Oh really?
So that's when he was starting to bubble, and he had this song called "Sooner Than Later." It's like an
So
R&B.
can you do me?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
fire song.
exactly. So he had this song called "Sooner Than Later," and from that, I was going through a similar situation with some girl in high school.
Hmm.
So I wrote like a remix to that song,
Oh
and that
man.
was the first time probably as a
Is it still on are we able to find it? Or can anybody find it?
it actually is, to be honest.
Oh really? Okay.
I won't say it on the
Okay.
record here, but I could shoot you a link.
Oh yeah, I like to hear it. I would like to hear it. That's one of my
I
favorite Drake
can
songs ever. That's one of my favorite Drake songs ever.
I can uh I can definitely shoot you a link after.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote a remix to that song. Um and then I did a few other of his songs too. And then that's when I really started to write. Like I would have stacks and stacks of notebooks where I would just write down my thoughts. It was just at that point it wasn't so much spiritually based. It was just kind of normal life.
Yeah. Just normal stuff.
Yeah, day to day, what I was going through, what I was experiencing. Um, whether it was a different girl situations, whatever the case may be. I was just kind of dabbling like that, but I was writing a lot, a lot. And at the time, I had a cousin. He's actually a family friend, but we
Hmm.
grew up so tight and our parents were so close
Yeah.
that you know how that is. But
Oh
people just,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's just my
That's how it
cousin,
goes. That's how it goes. Yeah.
right? His name was Jason,
Hmm.
and he was really, I would say, the biggest catalyst into kind of where I am now.
Wow.
because yeah, because he was one of the most talented guys I've ever met too. At that point in time, because he was making beats. So I started writing. I was telling him about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, you know, like I be writing too. I be doing my stuff too." So he was making his own beats.
That's what's
Um,
up.
he was writing songs. He could do it all, like from rapping to singing to
Man.
making beats to just. He was an incredible writer. He just had great ideas. So when I would like go visit his house, or when we would have sleepovers or whatever it would be,
Yeah.
those were some of the those were the first songs that I actually recorded. So it was like Sooner Than Later and
That was
some
like
other
the
song.
origin. So that was like the origin of you
Yeah,
recording. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So that was the origin. And at that point in time, we were heavy on the auto tune, heavy on the autos.
It was
So
T-Pain. It was T-Pain County.
exactly,
It was T-Pain County.
exactly. So it was heavy auto tune influence.
Yeah.
But that was the first. And we were recording like on a computer mic
Oh
on
yeah.
like Fruity Loop Studio. So I mean, the quality wasn't the best, but at the
Yeah.
time it was pretty tough. At least we thought so. And even if I
Yeah.
listen now, I'm still like, man, it could be a little more polished. But I mean, there's something here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so from then I just started writing more and more and more. And then I had an uncle who played, I have an uncle who played an integral part too, my uncle Brian.
Mm,
He also did music and he also made beats and he produced and he recorded and stuff. So throughout high school, like I would go over to his house sometimes. We would like record, and he would
that's
like,
what's up.
he would record me, and he would give me the audio files and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So he played a major impact too. So throughout high school, I was doing that, and also there was one more person I want to mention too. I have a friend. His name is MJ,
Hmm.
and he wrote a lot. We were on the same kind of wavelength, so we would get on the
Gotcha.
phone all the time. We'd be like exchanging lyrics and doing
That's what's up, man.
collaborations and stuff like that. So
I
that
love
was through
having I love having friends. I love having friends where you just exchange stuff with. That's dope. That's dope.
right,
That's dope.
right, yeah. So throughout high school, that was kind of how things were kind of building for me.
Hmm.
And then after I graduated, I worked for 2 years. So still writing, still doing stuff, not really recording a whole lot, but just doing a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, went to PCC.
Hmm.
So at that point, things kind of just was at a stalemate because
Mm.
you know how college life is,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It was
College life
hectic.
be grinding.
Yeah, I was fully consumed with school and just social life, and
Yeah.
so I didn't really have the time to really write as much as I used to. So things kind of was really slow from my college years, but I
Mm.
still always had that passion for music. I still always had ideas in my head and stuff, but just nothing was really serious
Mm.
until after I graduated. Got married and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So the early struggles of just getting out of school, trying to find
Your footing, yeah, your
trying to find
social footing, yeah.
yeah, trying to find your footing in the world. And that was a pivotal point where like my faith was growing, and I was getting closer to God, and I was in the word more. I was praying more, and that's when, just through life situations, I started writing a lot again.
Yeah.
But it was just mostly really in a spiritual vein, because I was just relying on God so much for different things, and that's just what was pouring out of me creatively.
Yeah.
That's just what it was, and it wasn't like a conscious choice, but that's just what it was. And then
Would you say that was your like when you because I'm kind of experiencing the same obviously, like I've told listeners that I'm working on my first mixtape, first solo mixtape for this summer. And when I focused on putting God at the center, that's where like my writing has been effective, but it wasn't as effective as it is now. I really put God at the center of things. Like, yeah, I'm like, this is
yeah,
who I'm giving all the credit to. Like, do you think that's when your creative peak went up, like when you put God at the center of things?
well, for sure, for sure, because it was a different source of inspiration, and it was like a different purpose behind it too. Like not only was it therapeutic, but it brought me closer, to him,
Yeah.
because like I said, you had to rely on him so much, but also made me want to just like magnify him and praise him just for everything that he was just like doing in my life. And
Yeah.
also I wanted to hand that experience on to other people. Because my mindset was, if I'm going through this, if I'm experiencing this, I want to relate this to other people so they can relate, so they can experience this. So, they can be pointed towards Christ and truly be edified. So a big part of it was just to edify people, to exhort people, because I think that's one of my major spiritual gifts is exhortation.
Oh
So
yeah.
I really I always love to encourage people. I'm always like the more positive guy, glass half full kind of guy.
I like that.
So yeah, so that was always a big thing. So, and it wasn't until around 2020 where I started to take my writing a little bit more seriously.
Hmm.
And I think I put out
And
my
that's the
first.
pandemic. That's the were you writing it during the pandemic? I mean,
Yep, yep,
I know a lot of people were writing during the pandemic. Yeah.
yep, during the pandemic. And it was around what year was that? 20, yeah, so 2020 is when I put out my first song on actual platforms.
Hmm.
So that's when I started to say, you know what, let me just take it a little bit more seriously, and let me just see what happens. I feel like
Yes.
I have a message to share with people, and
Got
I feel
something
like,
to say. Yeah. Got something to say.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of, I feel like that was kind of a long answer, but yeah,
Oh
that's
no,
just
no, I
coming
appreciate.
from,
Hey, that's what I want these combos to be. I really want people to
yeah,
just feel like they can open up and just talk. And a lot of times, people they open up about messy stuff and different things like that. I want to open up a space where people can just talk about their creative flows, the creative juices. Because I know a lot of people, a lot of listeners, they probably want that same thing, but they're on that 9 to 5 grind of just like, man, I just can't break out of it, and I want to get to that point. But getting to our next question to you, like, what's the most fun and most challenging aspect of making music? Because even for me, I have some days where it's like, man, I record back to back to back. It's flowing. Then other days, I'm like, man, I just got off work. I don't have any motivation to even mess with this. I just want to like, just chill out. Like,
yeah.
what's that balance of the having fun making music, then that challenging aspect of like when, as a creative, things just aren't flowing.
Yeah. So I would say, as far as the most fun thing for me is hearing an instrumental, or hearing a beat for the first time and not knowing where it's gonna go,
Yeah,
but when it just kind of flows and
so good.
connect, and then you finally flesh out the idea. You write down the lyrics, and you come up with melodies in your mind. And
Hmm.
so melodies is one of my favorite things to come up with. That's one of the most fun things to me. I like music that sounds good. Like, I like music
Yeah.
that you can sing along to. Like, sonically it just kind of blends. So
I'm big into. I was even talking to my dad about this. I'm big into melodies, like
yeah,
just simple melodies, like again, one of my favorite artists, one of your favorite artists, Drake. To me, he's a king of melodies. He's a king of making really good melodies that are just very simple. It's nothing like complex. It's very simple, and it's just
yeah,
like, oh man, this is catchy. Like I can play this any time of the day, and it's nothing that I'm having to think too hard about. I'm just able to sing it, able to hum it, and it just goes.
yeah, yeah. So I'd say, coming up with melodies, I would say, when you're just in the writing process and you just come up with a witty bar, or a witty line, it's like, oh shoot, like that was tough. You just kind of, that's
Yeah.
that's always fun. And then even just the process of recording, of putting it from your head to
Hmm.
to the audio, to the music, and when it's, you could
Yeah,
hear
man.
it.
It's
So that
different. That's
that's
a different
always,
process. It's a different process when you put it on the mic. Different
yeah,
process.
yeah. But it always sounds differently. It always sounds better in my head than it comes out.
Yeah, because when I actually sing that, I'm like, that did not go how I wanted to go.
I'm,
Because
I'm
at
saying,
late at night, because I'm a night out and I like working on music, like when it's at nighttime, and I'll be like, that's not what I was thinking throughout the day. That's not how it was sounding.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, man. So overall, just the process itself, from inception all the way into creation, is just a fun creative process. Especially, if you when you get in those zones where sometimes you're listening to different instrumentals, you have different ideas, you have different inspirations that come into you, or whether it's a,
Yeah,
a life situation that you can use, and then you can turn that into a song. That's
yeah.
just something that's just, so awesome to me. And then also, what's was also awesome is just putting it out into the world too. Even if,
Yeah, I was gonna ask that. I was gonna ask like it because again, I'm releasing my first single in April. How
mhm,
does that feel when you actually put out into the world and the world has it now? Like the world, what
yeah,
was yours in your at your home is now like the world can listen to it. They can pull it up.
yeah, it's almost kind of, you. euphoric feeling in a way. Like it's kind of weird. Like you anticipate, the song coming out, you anticipate the release happening.
Yeah,
And even if one person listens to it, just knowing that it's out there for consumption,
that's
it's
awesome.
just a real edifying it's just a real edifying feeling. And also what's fun about it too is when you can see that your music has encouraged somebody, or a message from somebody saying
Yeah,
like,
man.
oh man, like
That's where I was at. That's where I needed it.
that that was really encouraging, or I really like that, I really related to that, because ultimately my purpose is to point people toward Christ, and for people to be edified and encouraged and find some relatability, but also be able to enjoy the music too. So
Yeah,
when I get that interaction, when I get a certain type of feedback, that's also something that's super um, enjoyable about the process too. Now, when it comes to you also mentioned what was
yeah.
was
The
challenging.
challenging, well, yeah, what are some like the challenging aspects of just that process when it doesn't, when it's not able to go good, when it's not able to kind of have that same type of flow?
Yeah, yeah. So I say one of the biggest challenges is on the flip side of that is the inspiration. So sometimes we could want to write a song just to write a song,
Yeah,
and to me that's one of the biggest challenges, because that's when it's like I got nothing,
yeah, yeah.
So that's
It's like it's so weird. It's like on the worst. I'm not gonna say the worst days, but on the days that are just not your best, that's when I'll be like, oh man, I just got a song in my. But then like when things sometimes things are going good for me and things are just loose. I'm like,
yeah,
I got nothing. I'm on good vibes, but I got no inspiration. It's like one of those
yeah.
really bad days. That's when you have inspiration.
Yep. Or I might have a beat that I love. I might even have the melody in my head, I'm mumbling, but it's like I have nothing to say. And
Yeah,
so,
man.
I've learned to not force things. I would try to like sit down sometimes and try to force lyrics, try to force words.
Hmm.
But I've started to stray away from that now. Like back in the day, I used to sit down in one setting and like write a whole song. I haven't done that in a while.
Wow.
And not because it necessarily takes me a while to come up with ideas, but just because, I would start, I would flow,
Yeah.
and then I just need to live life some more. You
That
know, I
that's yeah, that's the thing. I like I'm gonna let you finish, but like just actually going out and just having conversations with people and living
yeah,
life. Sometimes I have to do that where I'm just like, I just need to like talk to some friends. I just need to like be somewhere else. And then like when I get back home, I'm like, yeah, I can use that. Like not that
yeah,
not that I'm trying to use people for songs, but it's just like I just got inspiration from that conversation. That just it
right.
goes.
Right. So you just gotta live life some more to have something that you want to talk about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
Because
it
when
could
you
be,
can't talk about anything, it's like then that's when it's like, oh, why
yeah,
are you doing
then
this?
yeah, then it's just something that's forced. It's
Yeah.
something that's generic. You know what I mean? So like, it really goes off of life experiences. What's going on around you?
Yeah.
What are you encountering? What are you reading in the Word? What is God putting on your heart? What is He saying to you?
Yeah.
Because you could be like reading scripture and something could just really pop out like, oh man, like
That was hard. Yeah.
yeah, like I can use that because I feel that I experienced that. I could use that to put that in the music, or
Yeah.
just life situation, you're going through a rough time, you could use that situation, but not just talk about the rough time, but talk
Mhm.
about how you're getting through that rough time. Talk about how God has been molding you through that rough time, and how it looks on the other side. Or even songs about when you're just on the mountaintop and when you just want to talk about just how good God is, man. So
Yeah.
sometimes I write from a place where things could not be so great, but it's like, no, I want to focus on I want to focus on the good things
Hmm. Hmm.
all the time. I want to focus on
Yeah.
how good God, I want to focus on how good God is all the time.
Yeah.
Even if things don't feel great now, I want to put that into the music, because that's just what it is. So I say one of the biggest challenges is when you get into the rut of not knowing what to talk about, but you just feel like, all right, man, I gotta write a song, I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta record something, but just learning to just kind of rest in it. You know what I mean? Like listen to a beat. And but for me, strangely enough, I'm mostly inspired when I'm driving. For some reason, like
Same
when I'm
way. Same
driving,
way.
the
Same here.
ideas just kind of
I was I
AJ.
was I was I was with my mom the other night and we were driving back out of town for something and I just was driving, and I was just like super calm. And she looked at me. She said, "It's driving is so therapeutic for you. I can just tell, like, cause
Yeah.
I'm just mellow out. I'm just like it was late at night. I was just like I'm just good.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
definitely feel that.
for sure. So I would definitely say that's a challenge. And then also one more challenging thing that just comes to my mind off rip is just having the time to do it.
Yeah, man.
you know,
That's the
trying
biggest
to
thing. Literally, the
trying
biggest
to
thing.
trying to prioritize the time. Because you know you got life is going on. You got everybody's working. You
Everybody,
know,
yeah.
everybody's got a family. You know, so there's priorities. There's things that always come before that. So you know, finding the time to be able to be creative, finding the time to be able to record, finding the time. So
Yeah.
that's another that's a
We're not
challenge.
like these artists who just get to just record like it's like we're not professional like full-time artists. It's like we have
Right,
lives outside of this. It's like that's the
right,
difference. It's like I can't just like be in the studio all the time. I have
right,
other responsibilities. Like
right, right. So yeah, so yeah, I would say those two things as far as what I would say is challenging. Yeah.
definitely, man. Before we get to our break, I do want to say you mentioned beat selection, but and again, I listen to a lot of beats throughout the day where I'm just like, hey, do I want to pick this one? But how important is the right beat selection? Just knowing like, hey, yeah, this is the one that goes for me. This is the one that works and flows for me.
Not yo, beat selection, it might be the most important aspect for me as far as where the creative process starts.
Yeah,
Because sometimes I come up with lyrics or ideas before I have a beat, but
yeah,
I would say 7 times out of 10, I have the beat first, and then whatever's on my heart, whatever's on my mind kind of
goes
spills
out.
over
Yeah, yeah,
after that. But I mean, of course, sometimes I do have, you know, ideas or something that I want to, a life experience that I say, okay, I know I want to write a song about this. But
yes.
most of the time, it's the beat, man. And I was just telling my wife this last night, actually, that I know within the first 7 to 10 seconds of listening to a song, listening to an instrumental, whether I want to use it or not. And
Exactly.
like I know instantly, and I'm very particular about it. So it could be a producer that I go to all the time. Let's just say I come across a beat. I'm like, oh man, this is nice. I want to use this.
Yeah,
And I go to like their profile, I go through like their whole catalog.
whole catalog. Yep.
And let's just say they could have 100 songs. And there may be like, and I'll go through all of them. And there may be like 10 of them that I
Yeah.
would like walk away
Yeah,
with.
I'm
Not
not
to say
picking a
that,
lot. And I'm not putting them down, but it's a few. It's a few.
yeah, and not to say that the beats aren't all tough. Like
Yeah.
they could all be fire, but it's like my ear kind of and my writing style too, because I have a certain I guess chillness about my
Hmm.
music.
Yes. Very, very true.
I have a certain vibe that I kind of I guess gravitate to or just kind of naturally go to. So it has to be something that I could find a melodic pocket to, or it has to
Yeah.
be something that just intrinsically, as soon as I hear it, it's mm. Like it has to
Yeah.
within the first 10 seconds. If I don't go, mm, that's
It's
just
so
not the
funny that
one.
you say that. It's so funny that you say that because I'm very like much so like, yeah, this beat is not getting used, or I'm like, oh man, like I'm saving this. And like, yeah,
You're right.
we're going in. Like, I
Yeah,
have to in the first 5 to 7. It's like I'm gonna know. I'm
yeah,
gonna. There's no mystery. It's like I'm gonna know from the jump whether I will use this or not. And I'm glad you said that because that's very real. That's a very real
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
for me, it's like if to me it catches my ear within the first few seconds, I would like to think that it would catch other people's ears too.
Oh
That's not
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
the motivation behind it, but that's kind of secondary. Like,
Music.
if it catches my ears like this, I'm sure it could catch somebody else too.
Music garners emotion. Like people are gonna feel
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, I like this, or like, it's kind of just not doing it for me. So I
for
definitely
sure.
feel that. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.